What are my thoughts? I found it mostly bereft of any substance whatsoever. I can see his perspective. Science is short, bad at competition. You can lift a lot, but your legs are still smaller than mine. Science, Like I said before, I've never seen Mike Van Wyck's pro card. Jeff is a pro. Jeff has a crowbar, and he just hits Mike Van Wyck in the knees. Mike falls, and then Jeff continues to bludgeon him in the knees so that Mike never walks properly ever again in his life.
Today's video is sponsored by Transparent Labs. I've been taking this whey protein for a long time now. If I want to come even close to a gram of protein per pound body weight, like I have to supplement it with whey, and I think this is the best. Right here, it's grass-fed whey protein isolate, peanut flour, cocoa powder, natural chocolate flavor, sodium chloride, and stevia extract. 7 total ingredients. Nothing artificial in this whatsoever. It's my favorite. They have incredible supplements, guys. So go there now, get your fill of supplements, and use code Zack at checkout. Back to the video.
What are your thoughts on the Jeff Nippard thing? Because I personally have like a more grandiose thesis.
Oh my God, well, my thoughts, let's hear the thesis.
My thesis on the Jeff Nippard thing kind of stems from, because I talk a lot about charlatans and the absolutism that kind of surrounds them, and not being able to have any sort of discourse with someone that you disagree with because you're so bought in on the absolute.
Yeah.
So like the statements that this dude made about science bros, or, you know, you're definitely in that category.
So like his video where he made like Mike Van Wyck,
yes,
the video where he talked about people who like suck at their sport but are short,
right? So that's
whatever. Like that actually applies much more to me than it does to Jeff. I didn't get butthurt about it because I never saw the video.
Yeah.
Also, I could give a but like it definitely applies to me because he's like I've done really bad at bodybuilding.
Right.
Like maybe it's just I'm historically inaccurate. I don't know if Mike Van Wyck has ever competed in bodybuilding.
My thing
funny,
is,
but in any case, yeah.
My thing is like, I can guarantee that he agrees more with Jeff than he disagrees with him. But because he's so bought in to this absolute statement, whatever it may be, no matter what, he has to kind of defend it to this point.
It's like man pride.
Yeah, exactly. But it doesn't need to exist. You guys can have two different philosophies, and you can have that Venn diagram where they meet. But this is the biggest issue that I see in fitness, is like, we have to make declarative statements. We have to make these very absolute statements so we can sell, so we can cut through all the other bullshit, which a lot of it actually isn't bullshit. We have to cut through to the top, make these declarative, inflammatory, absolute statements, and then when someone disagrees with it with nuance that has a platform like Jeff, the only thing you can do is be offended by it, because you can't agree with him at all. You've like dug your heels in. Yes. There's no agreeing. Yes. So then it's like, okay, well now it makes sense for a psychotic kind of absolutist roid monkey to then attack. That's you. To physically attack him. That's my thesis on the whole thing.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of right about that, man.
I don't know. What do you think about this situation?
We'll throw 200 on there. What do I think about the situation? Let's have you do a set really quick, and then I'll ramble. Is that high enough? You feel some chest pressure?
Yep.
Good. Gentle off the chest. No acceleration until the end. There you go. Good. That's good enough, Zack. What are my thoughts? I ended up listening to the sort of original Mike Van Wyck call out or whatever that was. And I found it mostly bereft of any substance whatsoever. It was just like legitimately an ad hominem attack writ large. Like it was like a... you have a firefight with someone in another building, you're not sniping at them, you just spray a load of bullets. It was that version of an ad hominem. Like short, bad at competition, you can lift a lot, but your legs are still smaller than mine, science, motherfuckers. Like, that's like a lot of people.
Yeah.
Really just me and Jeff Nippard, if you think about it. No, just me, really, because Jeff's a competitive bodybuilder at a very impressive level. Like I said before, I've never seen Mike Van Wyck's pro card. Jeff is a pro. Like, he's just categorically out of your league to criticize about jackness. He's just better than you. And it's dope to be like 6'5" and have big arms or whatever, but like, I don't know if that really like gives you a lot of leeway to criticize like legit competitive pros.
Yeah.
But
like the absence of...
because there was no, so I love your statement. I think your statement is true about a ton of different stuff and maybe other stuff Mike said. But when you're saying like he took an absolute statement and he firmly planted his feet in the ground, and then Jeff had another side of the story, he couldn't accept it, so they went to combat. I don't even think that goes, we don't even need to go that far because there was no absolute statement made. It was just an ad hominem attack. Mm-hmm. That was it. So it was like, oh, imagine, what is it that they disagree about, Zach? What was Mike Van Wyck's thesis?
People are getting too scientific.
What the f does that mean? Like, exactly. I don't even know what that means. Like,
well, he could, if he had the brain power to, he would have delivered some sort of nuance, and then if that were the case, he would have actually been like, oh yeah, cool, Jeff, thanks for the response.
Sure.
But he doesn't have brain power.
And the thing is, like, yeah, I get it. Like, I can see his perspective. Science is nerds are being short is I love all that. Like, you're the gorilla ass dude in the gym, 6'5", whatever, 300 pounds. You're the man, big arms. That's dope. I feel those vibes. And it's got some kind of manhood truth to it, you know, like science or whatever. Like, I feel that, right?
This is steel man.
100%.
Yeah.
But like, man, that's my best steel man of the situation.
Yeah, it's
not a lot there. Yeah. And also, like, the alternative is something the science guys almost never say, because most of them are like not on drugs, and they're sort of more decent human beings and more civilized. Like, you're just not going to get that alternative perspective from Jeff. He's going to science you back. He's not going to insult you at your level. And so, like, there are so many insults to hurl back in that direction on that same wavelength. It just doesn't make that science critique as unassailable, because I think the bro guys try to do that, like, well, you're a little, and the science guys are like, well, my meta-analyses, and they're like, see, proof positive that you're a little. But, you know, there are numerous retorts that people don't stoop down to, which I'll stoop down to now for the purposes of illustration. I just be like, Mike, like, you're just some bro. Dude, you took a ton of drugs. You're like a tough guy or whatever. I don't know based on what. I've never seen any competitive fighting footage of you.
No,
maybe he's a killer, whatever. I don't know.
No, he's definitely not.
Right. So like, you're just a big dude. You got a lot of feelings. You're on a lot of gear. I get it. You got tattoos everywhere. You're the man. Everyone's scared of you. But like, thinking about things, that's not your forte. Just stay the out of it, because you're like. Now here's the thing. That's as wrong as labeling all science people 5'4". It's exactly as wrong, because Mike might be nuanced and he might be real smart, and he's got some really good points every now and again. But if he's going to come at it with this nerd energy, I'm going to come back to you. You're a moron. You probably failed all the grades at school, and you're just bad at talking and thinking. So just do this, have your monkey arms, and stay the away from me. But that's not a retort. That's lame. That's just me insulting a guy. That's what he did to Jeff. And then when Jeff was like, science, I don't know what happened in the interim, but he was like, well, I could just shove you or whatever. Like, you're the man. I have no idea what you think you accomplished other than getting yourself kicked out of your gym.
Yeah.
The whole thing is sorry. Good luck, YouTube.
Yeah, we're gonna let's train hard right now.
Let's
talk about that.
You want to throat punch me or something?
Yes. One more.
Now, I will say, like, there's a very distinct difference between verbal exchanges and physical altercations that a lot of people seem to not appreciate. I think a lot of people have a slightly outdated view of civility. And they think that, like, for some things that you say to another man, you should be, like, physically assaulted. But unless it's an imminent call to violence, it's unethical to assault someone for what they say. And ethics comes in, like, sort of a few forms. One is just vibes. Like, it's just not cool to hit people, which is dope. It's true. But my favorite way of analyzing this problem of, like, well, how do we know it's not okay to hit people for what they say outside of imminent threats of violence on their part? Like, if someone was holding a knife and they're like, I'm going to stab you, yeah, it's carte blanche, them up. But short of that, you just have to think through, what kind of world do I want to live in? So let's say Mike Van Wyck assaulted Jeff, and Jeff was a different person. Maybe he was a Mike Van Wyck kind of person, maybe worse. And Jeff took it on the chin. No lawsuit, no public drama, no response, no CT scan, none of that. And then he let it cool off. And then he approached Mike Van Wyck like a few weeks later, super gingerly. He's like, dude, I'm really sorry I got out of line. If it's at you, Mike, be dude, it's cool, no worries. You know, fast friends and everything's cool. Then, you know, they're like, Mike's walking out of the gym or something, and Jeff's standing there, and Mike's like, dude, what's up? He comes in to pound it. Jeff has a crowbar, and he just hits Mike Van Wyck in the knees. Mike falls, and then Jeff continues to bludgeon him in the knees so that Mike never walks properly ever again in his life. And you would say, holy shit, that's up. Is it? Is it any more up than taking the first strike? On 9/11, the enemy of the United States only killed several thousand people. We went to Iraq and Afghanistan and toasted hundreds of thousands. Was it overkill? No, they had it coming. They struck first. You make that physical breach and do physical assault, I'm gonna play a patient waiting game. And you're never gonna feel safe again unless I'm dead, because you hurt my pride and you're gonna pay for that. The thing is, I'm the opposite of endorsing that. I'm Russian, that comes naturally to me. Russia's a bad place because there's lots of people like me in it with no civility hook. And so if you think it's cool to physically bully people, dope, finish the job. Just kill them. Kill them, hide the body, hope the police never find them. Because if you don't kill them, they're coming for you. And they're never gonna stop. And is that a world you wanna live in? We used to live in that world. That's what Somalia's like right now. Blood libel, gang war, the whole thing. Is that cool? Nah, it's not cool. You don't want to live in that world. No. So what you want to do is keep it to words only. Now with words, say whatever you want, freedom of speech. Yeah. Excoriate someone, do dunking videos on them, talk about their girl, whatever, all fair play. But the physical element, people think like there's some kind of bro code, like he should have never broke his knees, man. He just pushed him. Like, oh, really? Well, why don't you delineate for me what's cool and what's not cool in bro code? This is the and when you finish that delineation post, you walk out of your house, I'm gonna catch you there with a crowbar again. How's that? Then you can try say, well, no, hold on, I'm still debating. I'm done debating. I'm gonna fuck up. It's not anything anyone wants.
Have you ever seen those videos of like the street fights, and then some guy tackles the other guy, starts ground and pound, then he turns around and he takes his back, rear nakeds him?
Yep.
And they go, man, he had him standing up. Why is he such a pussy and taking him
down?
Like,
right. Are we in a regulated boxing match?
Yeah. What the fuck are you talking
about? And that's that animal, like two bisons hit each other with horns and then kind of back off and one of them gets a headache. That's that kind of animalistic physical like altercation that in many animals, they're not trying to kill or maim, they're trying to discover who's dominant. The problem is humans just don't do that anymore with physical violence, because humans discover that if you try to assert dominance, someone can always up the ante and go further. And that leads to chaos and war, permanent chaos and war. And so as civilized humans, we no longer physically hurt each other unless we're imminently threatened. And if you don't buy into that, I'll see you in the street.
Yeah, yeah.
Anyway, all right, 15 total.
15, yes.